Hi folks, welcome back to Three Barrow Farm. My name is Amy, for those who are new here. And as you can see in front of me, I have some of my tomato plants that I haven't planted out yet. And they're actually starting to grow flowers on them. They've been inside and I've been putting them out each day. I haven't staked them, so most of them are starting to bend over. But I'm going to plant a whole heap along here. But first I've noticed that my irrigation line has popped down, so I'm just going to tie with some of this rope that we were using on the apples. I'm just going to reuse it. It is sort of degrading a bit, but I'm just going to pop it on, and oops, just broken another one of the zip ties. But I need to pull this taut so that it stays in place. It is a beautiful day today, and I really want to get most of my seedlings out in the garden. I feel like I've had them sitting there for quite a few weeks and just haven't had the time to get them out. So I'm going to get them out today. I've watered the garden last night, so the soil's nice and moist. Also, we had a lot of rain last week, and that's also helped to keep everything nice and wet. All right, I've got a lot of different varieties of tomatoes here. I'm just going to pop this to the side. So this is the garden bed that I'm still working on, but I've popped manure all along here, and I've got the straw down in the pathways. I'm yet to get straw down and cardboard down in this pathway here. So I want to plant the tomatoes near the drippers, but I don't want to plant them directly underneath because I don't want the water to be dripping on their leaves, because they don't like the water dripping on their leaves. So I'm just going to do it slightly to the side. And because these plants are so big and tall, I'm going to dig quite deep into the soil. I'm going to leave a good gap in between each plant as well. I'm leaving maybe between 30 and 40 centimeters between each plant. And I'm digging deep down into the ground because I want to get some of that main stem buried into the ground as well. I'm just going to use this little piece of rope here as a guide to the distance I'm sort of planting them. And it just so happens that each one will fall right next to a dripper because the drippers are evenly spread as well. Now, I did put newspaper along here and then put the manure on top, and the newspaper has broken up quite nicely already. It's really easy to dig into and dig through. Okay, so I've got this first plant to put in, and I'm just going to put a little bit of water into I'm just going to try and get it just in the holes, just so there's a bit of water where the roots are going to go. Now this leaf here is not looking so great, so I'm just going to take that one off. In fact, I'm going to take that one off as well. Okay, so this is a rainbow beef steak mix tomato. Squeeze it out. It's quite dry actually I watered them yesterday, but obviously these plants are needing a lot of water now because they're quite big. So I'm just gonna bury it. I haven't buried this one as deep as I normally would, but that's okay. That's as deep as I could get the hole without getting too close to the clay. And what I want to do is I want to put a little well around the plant so that when this dripper line drips down here, it's going into this well and it'll fill up, and then it'll, water the plant well. Give it a little bit of some water trying not to water the leaves of the tomato plant because they don't like to get wet. You also want to keep the leaves away from the ground so that when it does rain, the splash up doesn't disturb the leaves. Now this leaf here is looking a little bit droopy, but I'm going to leave it on there because I want this tomato plant to have as many leaves on it as possible. And I'm going to put a frost cloth over these so it will be protected as well at night. So I've popped my tag. Make sure you pop your tag in so you know what you've planted. And I'm going to use more of this rope to tie this plant gently to the Rio mesh that we have here. So I don't want to damage the plant, but I just want to encourage it to go up the Rio, and I don't want it to flap around a lot. So I'm just going to tie it like so on either side of the Rio and just leaning that part towards the Rio here, and then I'll eventually tie it up here and up here as it grows up. So that's enough to hold it in place. Okay, I've got some more rainbow beefsteaks here, and I've got 4 in this one pot, and they're really, really quite cramped. They're so ready to go out, but they are looking very healthy despite the fact that they're all in this pot together and quite pot bound. So I'm going to try and separate them without disturbing the roots and upsetting them too much. So there's a leaf that I'm going to take off. I'm going to leave the rest in there, and we're going to plant this one in here. I've already popped some water in here so the soil's nice and moist. It already was quite wet anyway. And again, popping a well around the tomato so that that water drips into the well and waters the plant. And again, making a well around this plant. Oops. Just digging into the manure there. And just put a little bit of a mound around the base of the plant just to hold it in place. But that dripper here is going to fall down here. And then I'm going to get this rope here and just tie it just gently. You don't want the plant to be rubbing against this metal Rio. So I'm just gently tying it. That's going to hold it in place, and then I will continue to tie this one to the mesh as it grows up as well. This leaf is probably a bit too close to the bottom. I'm just going to take that part off because these leaves look quite healthy. And yeah, that one's going to grow up nicely. Going to give it a bit of a water. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tomato plants all planted. So I have the rainbow beefsteak ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Actually 5 of them. And then I've got 3 of the Ripple yellow currant cherry tomatoes at the end here. So eventually I will continue along here planting more tomatoes. I've just got to put out the newspaper and the manure on top, and then I can plant out more. Okay, now so I don't know if this does anything, but I always give my little seedlings or seeds a little blessing, just sort of tell them to grow well and strong, and yeah, I look forward to eating their fruits. There's a little flower bud there coming out. There's another one over here as well, so some flowers to come soon. So hopefully we get a wonderful harvest of tomatoes from these plants. And I've got some more poppies that have sprung up this morning. They are looking really happy. And I've also spotted that the comfrey is coming up really nicely. I'm going to actually have to harvest some of the young leaves and dry them for my comfrey balm or salve that I make for helping with muscle pain and with bones and any sort of tendons and that sort of stuff. It really assists with all of that. So I'm going to have to harvest them soon before it goes to flower. And there's a little baby one here coming up, which I might transplant elsewhere in the garden. Okay, before I get to putting all my seedlings out, I just wanted to show you what I have moved to doing with my seedlings in these boxes that I get from Bunnings. So I don't have a seed raising house yet. I'm so looking forward to getting one. But our house is solar passive, so the sun comes in all the way up to sort of the first couple of weeks of October. So it comes in during the winter and then it is cut off from coming in. The sun is down the wall past all the windows and doors in the summer because the sun goes up higher in the sky. So I have now started putting my seed raising boxes outside here on our little front deck. And because we have had some frosty nights, I've discovered that just putting this woolen blanket over the top at night time has kept my seedlings nice and warm and protected from the frost. Then during the day, I'm taking the boxes off. And as you can see, I've had some issues because I left my seedlings out one night when the frost came and I didn't have that blanket over them. I had a little bit of frost damage on the corn. I lost pretty much this whole tray of tomatoes. Luckily, I have so many tomato plants, it doesn't really matter, but I've re-sown seeds in this tray and hoping that they come up. We shall see. And then I also had a full tray of sunflowers here, and that also happened. They all got frostbitten, so I've got one that's left from that lot of sunflowers, and I'm going to plant this one out very soon. But as you can see, the corn is doing pretty well. The one thing that happened here with the corn is that the seed rotted, so I was watering them too much. So I've only gotten 11 out of the 24 that I can get out of this tray. So I've replanted the corn seeds, and I can see one is coming up here. I can see its root going down, so I'm just going to cover it a bit again. And I'm being sparing with my watering. Of course, I'm watering pretty much twice a day now because it's outside in the elements. I've got this off so that they don't rot also, so I don't keep too much of the moisture in during the daytime. But these corn plants are ready to plant out as well. I've just got to figure out where I'm going to put these, and I will also need to protect them from the frost when I do put them out. But I just wanted to show you what I'm doing right now with my seedling trays, and I will continue to keep sowing lettuce and all the things that I want to succession sow, and I will be putting them out here. So this is what I'm doing now in October when there's no sunshine coming into the house. Well, I have almost managed to put all of my tomatoes in. I ended up going inside because it got too hot, and now it's 3:30 in the evening and I'm planting some zucchinis out here now. I've got zucchinis and chilies and capsicums, some rock melons and some cucumbers as well to get into the garden, and I will try and get them all in over the next couple of days. I need to be careful and make sure these are safe under some frost cloth if we get some colder nights like that. There are just ladybirds everywhere. It's so lovely to see them. I can see some on some fennel that's just growing in the grass over there. They're absolutely loving the fennel. The rock melons that I have in here, I'm going to put on the Rio because I'm going to grow those up the Rio like I've done before. The same with the cucumbers as well. So I will do them tomorrow. The chilies and the eggplants and the capsicums I'm going to leave till tomorrow. Thank you for watching, friends. See you next time.